praises. Well, we're going to start off as we always do. That's by giving all praises, all glory, all honor to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
Through his only begotten Son, Jesus the Christ.
That's right.
Secondly, we're going to give double honors to our elders.
Facts.
Our elders, they rule well. They're counted worthy of double honors. They get their double honors. Thirdly, lastly, I want to say to all of my brothers, all of my sisters out there, Shabbat, Shalom, Happy Sabbath, greetings. My name is Priest Lithiel Ben Israel.
And my name is Priest Ron Ben Israel.
And as you already know, we are with the Holy Nation of Israel, the Straight Gate of Israel. And we're back again with another topic, another lesson. But before we continue, I want everybody out there, get your Bibles, get your Apocryphas, get your notebooks, get your pens, paper, pencils. Read along with us. Take notes if it's in your spirit. Lord's willing, this will be an edifying lesson that I am going to entitle A Brief History of the Kings, Part 2, yo. Part 2. And we left off in Part 1 with the death of Rehoboam and Abijam and the subsequent succession of Asa to being king over Judah, yo. That's where we left off at. So let's start in 1 Kings 15:9. Let's read that.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, verse 9.
Read.
And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah.
In the 20th year of Jeroboam, the king over Israel, reigned Asa, the king of Judah. How long did Jeroboam reign? This is talking about Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. He reigned for 22 years, if I'm not mistaken. Jump over to verse 20, chapter 14, verse 20.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 14, and verse 20.
Read.
And the days which Jeroboam reigned were 22 years.
This is talking about Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, the Ephraimite. He reigned over Israel for 22 years. Read.
And he slept with his fathers.
And he died. Read.
And Nadab, his son, reigned in his stead.
And when he died, his son Nadab reigned in his stead. He ruled in his place, yo. He ruled in his place. Go to chapter 15 and verse 25. Nadab only ruled for 2 years. After that, he was murdered or assassinated, yo. He was killed. Give me that real quick.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, verse 25. And Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, began to reign over Israel, in the 2nd year of Asa, king of Judah.
So he began his reign in the 2nd year of Asa, the king of Judah. Read.
And reigned over Israel 2 years.
But he only ruled over Israel for 2 years, yo. He only ruled for 2 years. Read.
And he did evil in the sight of the Lord.
He did evil in the sight of the Lord.
And walked in the way of his father.
He walked in the way of his father Jeroboam. Read.
And in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin.
And he walked in the sin in which Jeroboam made Israel to sin. Get that real quick. Give me 1 Kings 12 and 28. And then we're going to jump down. No, excuse me. 1 Kings 12 and 25. And then we're going to jump down to 28.
1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 25.
About the sin that Jeroboam caused Israel to sin. Read that.
Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim.
So Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim. Read.
And dwelt therein.
Uh-huh.
And he went out from thence and built Penuel.
So I started here so you would know who we're talking about. We're talking about Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Jump down to verse 28.
Verse 28. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold.
He made 2 idol calves of gold. Read.
And said unto them,
What did he say?
It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
Behold thy gods, O Israel.
Behold thy gods, O Israel. Read.
Which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Read.
And he set the one in Bethel.
And he set one of these golden idol calves in Bethel. Read.
And the other put he and Dan.
And he set the other golden idol calf in Dan. Read.
And this thing became a sin.
And this thing became a sin. It became a sin to the people of Israel. Read.
For the people went to worship before the one.
Because the people went to worship before the one. That one idol calf that was where?
Even unto Dan.
That was placed in Dan, yo. That thing became a sin unto the house of Israel. So when we go back to 1 Kings 15, and let's read verse 26 again.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, verse 26. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord.
He's talking about Nadab, the son of Jeroboam. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. Read.
And walked in the way of his father.
Read.
And in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin.
Meaning he was worshiping those golden calves, those idol calves of gold. Can you read?
And Baasha, the son of Ahijah, of the house of Issachar.
And Baasha, the son of Ahijah, of the house of Issachar. This was a man of the tribe of Issachar. and Issachar, read.
conspired against
He
him.
conspired against Nadab, read.
And Baasha smote him at
Gibbethon. And Baasha killed Nadab at Gibbethon, read.
which belonged to the Philistines.
Uh-huh.
For Nadab and all Israel laid siege to Gibbethon.
At that time, Nadab and the host, all of Israel, they were laying siege to Gibbethon, to that city, read.
Even in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, did Baasha slay him, and reign in his stead.
So Baasha killed Nadab in the 3rd year of Asa's reign, yo. That's when he killed Nadab, the son of, what's his name again? Jeroboam. Jeroboam. Can you read?
And it came to pass, when he reigned, that he smote all the house of Jeroboam.
Damn, when Baasha took the throne, he smote all the house of Jeroboam. He destroyed Jeroboam's house, read.
He left not to Jeroboam any that breathed.
Damn, read.
Until he had destroyed him, according unto the saying of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Ahijah the Shilonite.
When he spake by Ahijah the Shilonite. Ahijah the Shilonite, Ahijah the prophet, this was the same prophet that told Jeroboam that he was going to be made king. The same prophet that told him he would be made king over Israel, yo. Now, let's read about that prophecy of Ahijah. Let's go to chapter 14. Let's start at 1.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 14, verse 1.
And we're going to do some reading.
All right. At that time, Abijah, the son of Jeroboam, fell sick. And Jeroboam said to his wife, Arise, I pray thee, and disguise thyself, that thou be not known to be the wife of Jeroboam.
So Jeroboam told his wife, get up and disguise yourself. Pretend to be another woman, so nobody knows you're my wife. Read.
And get thee to Shiloh. Behold, there is Ahijah the prophet.
Ahijah the prophet is Ahijah the Shilonite. Read.
Which told me that I should be king over this people.
This was the same prophet that told him he would be king over Israel. Yo, read.
And take with thee 10 loaves and
cracknels.
And
I got an annotation in my Bible next to cracknels, and it says, or cakes. So cracknels are cakes. Read.
And a cruse of honey.
Read that annotation next to a cruse of honey real quick.
I got it. And mine's bottled.
So when it says cruse of honey, it's talking about a bottle of honey. Take him a bottle of honey. Read.
And go to him. He shall tell thee what shall become of the child.
And go to him, and he's going to tell you what's going to happen to my son. Read.
And Jeroboam's wife did so.
So she did what she was told to do. Read.
And arose.
She got up.
And went to Shiloh.
And she went to Shiloh. She got up, disguised herself, and went to Shiloh. Read.
And came to the house of Ahijah. But Ahijah could not see.
But Ahijah could not see at this time. He was blind. Why? Read.
For his eyes were set by reason of his age.
Because he was extremely aged at this point. He was an old man at this time. Read.
And the Lord said unto Ahijah, Behold, the wife of Jeroboam cometh to ask a thing of thee for her son.
Read.
For he is sick.
For he is sick.
Thus and thus shalt thou say unto her. For it shall be, when she cometh in, that she shall feign herself to be another woman.
She's going to pretend and play as if she's somebody else. Another woman. Read.
And it was so, when Ahijah heard the sound of her feet.
When Ahijah heard the sound of her feet.
And she came in at the door. That he said, Come in, thou wife of Jeroboam.
Come in, thou wife of Jeroboam. Read.
Why feignest thou thyself to be another?
Why are you pretending to be another woman? Read.
For I am sent to thee with heavy tidings.
He said, I am sent to thee with heavy tidings. Heavy tidings, that's talking about bad news. Show. Ahijah the prophet told her, I have bad news for you. Read.
Go, tell Jeroboam, thus saith the Lord God of Israel.
Read.
For as much as I exalted thee from among the people, and made thee prince over my people Israel.
He said, as much as I exalted thee and made thee prince over my people Israel, meaning he made him king, yo. He made him king because remember, all the princes of God are what?
Kings.
They're kings, yo. But get that just in case somebody doesn't know it, Isaiah 10 and 8. Just in case.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and verse 8.
Read.
For he saith, Are not my princes altogether kings?
Are not my princes altogether kings? See, the princes of Israel are kings, yo. So when we read here in First Kings 14, he said, I made thee prince over my people Israel. He said, I made you king. King over my people Israel. Let's go back to 1 Kings 14 and read 8.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 14, verse 8. And I rent the kingdom away from the house of David, and gave it thee. And yet thou hast not been as my servant David.
He said, but you were nothing like my servant David. Read.
Who kept my commandments.
David kept the commandments. Read.
and who followed me with all his heart.
David followed the Lord with all his heart. Read.
To do that only which was right in my eyes.
David did the things that were right in the eyes of God. Read.
But has done evil above all that were before thee.
But not Jeroboam. Jeroboam, he did evil. And he did more evil than anyone that came before him. Yo, any of the kings that came before him, he did more evil. Read.
For thou hast gone and made thee other gods and molten images to provoke me to anger.
He said, you made other gods and molten images, those 2 idol calves of gold, to provoke the Lord to anger. Read.
And hast cast me behind thy back.
And he cast the Lord behind his back. Read.
Therefore, behold, I will bring evil upon the house of Jeroboam.
So the Lord said he was going to bring evil upon Jeroboam's house. Read.
And will cut off from Jeroboam him that pisseth against the wall.
He's saying, I'm going to kill every man of the house of Jeroboam, yo. When he says, I'm going to cut off him that pisses against the wall, he's talking about killing all the males of Jeroboam's house. That's what it's talking about. Read.
And him that is shut up and left in Israel.
Read.
And will take away the remnant of the house of Jeroboam.
Damn, read.
As a man taketh away dung till it be all gone.
Till it be all gone. Till the house of Jeroboam be all gone. Read.
Him that dieth of Jeroboam in the city shall the dogs eat.
He said, if you die of Jeroboam in the city, the dogs are going to eat you. Read.
And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat.
And if you die in the field and you're of Jeroboam, the birds, the fowl of the air will eat you. Read.
For the Lord has spoken it. Arise thou therefore, get thee to thy own house.
This is Ahijah talking to Jeroboam's wife. He told her, get up, go to your own house. Read.
And when thy feet enter into the city,
and when you reach your city, read.
The child shall die.
That sick child is going to die as soon as you get to the city. He'll be dead. Read.
And all Israel shall mourn for him.
And all Israel's going to mourn for him when he dies. Read.
And bury him.
And they're going to bury him. Read.
For he only of Jeroboam shall come to the grave.
But he's the only one of the house of Jeroboam that will be buried. The rest of them will either die in the city and be eaten by the dogs, or die in the field and be eaten by the birds. Only this baby will be buried. Can you read?
Because in him there is found some good thing toward the Lord God of Israel, in the house of Jeroboam.
In this baby, in his spirit, there was some good thing towards God. What that good thing is, we don't know. But there was some good thing in his spirit. Read.
Verse 14. Moreover, the Lord shall rise him up a king over Israel.
Moreover, the Lord shall raise him up a king over Israel. Read.
Who shall cut off the house of Jeroboam that day. But what even now?
That king was Baasha, the son of Ahijah, the Issacharite man. That's who the king was that cut off the house of Jeroboam. Hey, let's jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17. And Jeroboam's wife arose and departed, and came to Tisra.
And she came to Tirzah. This is where Jeroboam was living at this time. He was living in Tirzah. Read.
And when she came to the threshold of the door, the child died.
The child died, just like Ahijah said, yo. Read. When she got to the threshold of the door of Tirzah, the child died. Read.
And they buried him.
And they buried him, just like the prophet said. Read.
And all Israel mourned for him.
Just like the prophet said. Read.
According to the word of the Lord, which he spake by the hand of his servant Ahijah the prophet.
Which he spake by the hand of his servant. Let's go back to chapter 15 and verse 33.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, verse 33. In the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, began Baasha, the son of Ahijah, to reign over all Israel in Tirzah 24 years.
So Baasha, he reigned over Israel where? In Tirzah. In Tirzah for 24 years, y'all. Read.
And he did evil in the sight of the Lord.
And he also did evil in the sight of the Lord.
And walked in the way of Jeroboam. And in his sin, wherewith he made Israel to sin.
And he also worshipped those idol calves of gold. Also worshipped those idol calves of gold. Now, before we continue with Baasha, let's go back to Asa real quick. 15 and 9.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, verse 9. And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah.
Read.
And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem.
So Asa reigned over Judah and Jerusalem for 41 years. Yo, that's a long reign. 41 years. Read.
And his mother's name was Maacah.
And his mother's name was Maacah. Read.
The daughter of Abishalom.
The daughter of Abishalom. Now, his mother, Maacah, she was an idolatrous woman, yo. She was an idolater. That's what she was. Jump down to verse 13.
Verse 13. And also, Maacah, his mother, even her, he removed from being queen.
He had to remove her from being queen. He took away her title. He took away her crown. She was no longer queen. Why? Read.
Because she had made an idol in a grove.
Because she was an idolater, yo. She had built up an idol in a grove, yo. And when Asa found out that his mommy had done that thing, he took away her title. He stripped her of her title. She was no longer queen. This is an example for all of you brothers out here. Because I know brothers, they love mommy. They love their mom so much. Mom can't do no wrong in their eyes. Well, guess what? You better not be like that. If mommy do something wrong, you better be willing to call it out. Just like Asa was willing to call it out. Very simple, yo. Finish the verse.
And Asa destroyed her idol.
So Asa destroyed her idol,
and burnt it by the brook Kidron.
and he burned that thing. Jump back up to verse 10.
Verse 10.
Oh, excuse me, verse 11, excuse me.
Verse 11. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father.
So Asa did the things that were right in the eyes of the Lord, Joe. What things are right in the eyes of the Lord? Hey, give me Psalm chapter 19 and verse 8 real quick. Let me get that one first. Because it said Asa did the things that were right in the eyes of the Lord. What are the things that are right in the eyes of the Lord? Let's find out. Read this.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 8.
Read.
The statutes of the Lord are right.
Those things are right in the eyes of the Lord. The statutes of the Lord, which are his laws, his commandments. Those things are right in the eyes of the Lord. These are the things that Asa did. Read.
Rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure. Enlightening the eyes.
Read the next verse.
Verse 9. The fear of the Lord is clean.
The fear of the Lord is clean.
Enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true.
Here we go. The judgments of the Lord are true.
And righteous altogether.
What is the root word to righteous? Right.
Right.
This is telling you that God's judgments are right. Give me that in Nehemiah 9 and 13 as well to show that the judgments of God are right. So the statutes, which are God's laws, they're right, and the judgments of God are right. Read that.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 13. Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai,
Right.
and spakest with them from heaven, and gavest them right judgments.
And gave them right judgments. The things that are right in the eyes of God, his judgments. Those things are right. Keep reading.
And true law.
And true laws.
Good statutes.
Good statutes.
And commandments.
And commandments. So those good statutes and commandments are also right. Those are right statutes. Like we read in Psalm chapter 19 and verse 8. So when we go back to the book of 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 11 again.
1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 11.
Read.
And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father.
Meaning Asa did the statutes of the Lord and the judgments of the Lord. Read the next verse.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land. See, there were Sodomites in the land of Judah in the time of Asa. And before Asa, the Sodomites were in the land all the way from the time of Rehoboam, Solomon's son. Give me that real quick. 1 Kings 14 and 21.
1 Kings chapter 14 and verse 21.
Read.
And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, reigned in Judah. Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign.
He was 41 years old when he became king. Read.
And he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem.
And he ruled for 17 years. Read.
The city which the Lord did choose out of all the tribes of Israel to put his name there.
Read.
And his mother's name was Naamah, an Ammonitess.
And his mother's name was Naamah, and she was an Ammonitess, what we know today as a Japanese woman. So Rehoboam would have been what we call today a mixed brother. You know what I'm saying? You know, when black people were mixed with Asians, they called them Blasians. So that's what they would call Rehoboam. Real talk. I'm just being honest. That's what they call him. They would call him a Blasian. Verse 22.
Verse 22. And Judah did evil in the sight of the Lord.
So in the time of Rehoboam, Judah was doing evil in the sight of the Lord. Read.
And they provoked him to jealousy with their sins, which they had committed,
Read.
above all that their fathers had done.
Damn, read.
For they also built them high places and images and groves on every high hill and under every green tree.
So it said we built images and groves, yo. And I got an annotation next to images. It says, or standing images or statues. We start to build standing images and statues. Idol gods, yo. Throughout Judah, throughout Jerusalem. Read.
And there were also Sodomites in the land.
See, the Sodomites were in the land from the time of Rehoboam. Man, from the time of Rehoboam, those Sodomites were in the land. Read.
And they did according to all the abominations of the nations, which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
Go back to chapter 15, read 11 and 12 again.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 11. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father.
Read.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land. Remember, Asa did the things that were right in the sight of God. Meaning he did God's laws and judgments, man. Give me the law in Deuteronomy 23 and 17 about sodomites.
Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 17.
Uh-huh.
There shall be no whore.
There shall be no whores of who?
Of the daughters of Israel.
There shall be no whores of the daughters of Israel. You know what a whore is? A whore is a promiscuous woman, yo. A woman that jumps from every Tom, Harry, and Dick, and Dick, and Dick. A woman that rides what we know as the cock carousel. That's a whore, yo. Real talk. But when you read the annotation next to the word whore right there, you know what word you get? Sodomitis. You know what a sodomitis is? A lesbian. A lesbian, yo. A gay woman. A homosexual woman. According to the law, there's to be no whores or promiscuous women among the daughters of Israel. Right. There are to be no lesbians, no gay women among the daughters of Israel. That's according to the law. Read it again.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
That's the law of God. There's to be no sodomites of the sons of Israel. A sodomite is a homosexual man, yo. That is a sodomite. The law says there shall be no sodomites of the sons of Israel. Now give me the judgment for the sodomite in Leviticus chapter 20 and 13. Because remember, Asa did that which was right in the eyes of God. So he not only did God's laws, he also executed God's what?
Judgment.
Judgment show. Real talk.
Right, judgment.
Read that.
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13.
And this is the judgment for the sodomite. Read.
If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman.
That's a sodomite. If a man lies down with another man in the way he would lie with a woman, that's a sodomite. Read.
Both of them have committed an abomination.
Both of them have committed an abomination. The giver and the receiver. The top and the bottom. They both committed abomination. Read.
Catcher and pitcher.
Yep. Read.
They shall surely be put to death.
And what?
And their blood shall be upon them.
That's the judgment for the sodomite. Go back to the book of 1 Kings chapter 15. Verse 11 and 12 again.
1 Kings chapter 15 verse 11. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father.
Read.
And he took away the sodomites out of the land.
When it's saying he took away the sodomites out of the land, what it's saying is he was killing the sodomites. He was putting them to death. He was killing them out of the land. Now, he didn't get all of the sodomites, because after he started killing the sodomites, a remnant of them went into hiding. And I guess, I'm pretty sure all of you know where sodomites hide, right? In the closet.
Back there in the cave.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, hey, but just to show he didn't kill them all, give me 1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 46 real quick. 1 Kings 22 and 46.
1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 46.
And
the remnant of the sodomites, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land.
Talking about Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat killed the remnant of the sodomites that remained from the time of Asa, when Asa was killing them out the land, yo. He didn't get rid of all of them, because some of them, a remnant of them, went back into hiding. They went into the closet. Real talk. Let's go back to the book of 1 Kings chapter 15. Let's read 12 again.
1 Kings chapter 15 verse 12. And he took away the sodomites out of the land.
Asa, read.
And removed all the idols that his fathers had made.
And he removed the idols that his fathers had made. Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. But the high places were not removed.
But he did not remove the high places, though. Read.
Nevertheless, Asa's heart was perfect with the Lord all his days.
But nevertheless, Asa's heart was perfect with the Lord all of his days, yo. Hey, jump down to 16.
Verse 16. And there was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days.
Now remember, Baasha, he's the one who conspired against Nadab and killed Nadab. This is the brother who, this is the son of Ahijah, the Issacharite. He's the one who killed Nadab and became king. After he killed Nadab and became king, him and Asa were at war all the days of Baasha's life. Can you read?
And Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might not suffer any to go out or come into Asa, king of Judah.
So Baasha went up to make war with Judah, and he started to build Ramah so that he can keep all of Asa and Asa's people in or out. He was trying to keep them either in or out, so nobody could get back and forth. Can you read?
Then Asa took also the silver and the gold that were left in the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house, and delivered them into the hand of his servants. And King Asa sent them to Benhadad, the son of Tabbathon, the son of Hezion, king of Syria, and dwelt at Damascus, saying.
So Asa, he sent presents, gold and silver, to the king of Syria, who was at this time, what is his name? Ben-Hadad. Ben-Hadad. Verse 19.
Verse 19. There is a league between me.
Asa said, "There's a league between me
and thee,
and you." Read.
between my father and thy father.
And he's saying this agreement goes back to our fathers. Read.
Behold, I have sent unto thee a present of silver and gold.
Read.
Come and break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me.
That he may depart from me. Read.
So Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa.
So Ben-Hadad, he agreed. He hearkened to the king, to Asa. Read.
And sent the captains of the hosts which he had against the cities of Israel, and smote Ijon,
which is a city of Israel,
and Dan,
which is in Israel,
Abel Beth Maacah,
and Abel Beth Maacah, city in Israel,
and all
Cinneroth, city in Israel,
with all the land of Naphtali.
And Naphtali is in the land of Israel. Keep reading.
And it came to pass when Baasha heard thereof.
And it came to pass when Baasha, when he heard that Ben-Hadad and his hosts turned against him, and he began destroying the cities in Israel. Read.
That he left off building a Ramah.
He had to leave off from building Ramah.
And dwelt in Tirzah.
And he had to go back to Tirzah, He had to go back to Tirzah. Let's jump down to chapter 16 and verse 5.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 16 and verse 5. Now the rest of the acts of Baasha, and what he did, and his might, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? So Baasha slept with his fathers.
He died, read.
And was buried in Tirzah.
And he was buried in Tirzah, where he reigned, where he ruled, read.
And Elah, his son, reigned in his stead.
And Elah, his son, became king in his stead, Joe. So let's talk about Elah. Jump over to verse 8.
Verse 8. In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Elah, the son of Baasha, to reign over Israel. In Tirzah, 2 years.
So in the, what did it say? In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, that's when Elah became king, over Israel. But he only reigned for 2 years, Only 2 years. And he reigned in Tirzah. If you notice, all the northern kingdom kings are reigning for where right now? Tirzah, Tirzah. This is before they got Samaria. Before they got in Samaria. Now, it said he reigned for 2 years. So Elah reigned for 2 years. After that, he was murdered. He was assassinated. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And his servant Zimri, captain of half his chariots, conspired against him.
So his own servant, a man named Zimri, who was captain over half of his chariots, conspired against him, men. Conspired to kill him. Talking about Elah, read.
As he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arzah.
So Elah was in Tirzah, in the king's house, getting drunk. Drinking himself drunk. Read.
Steward of his house in Tirzah.
Keep reading.
And Zimri went and smote him and killed him.
And that's when Zimri went in and smote him and killed him. He killed him in his own house in Tirzah while he was getting drunk. Read.
In the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his stead.
And he reigned in his stead. Read.
And it came to pass, when he began to reign,
when Zimri began to rule. Read.
As soon as he sat on his throne, that he slew all the house of Baasha.
He killed all of the house of Baasha. Read.
He left him not one that pisseth against a wall.
He didn't leave any men of the house of Baasha. Read.
Neither of his kinsfolk.
Neither of his kinsfolk.
Nor of his friends.
He even killed his goddamn friends. Damn, read.
Thus did Zimri destroy all the house of Baasha, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet.
Hey, let's read that, chapter 16 and 1. We're going to read down to 4.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 16, verse 1. Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying.
So this is Jehu, the son of Hanani, the seer, Father and son, they were both prophets. His father, Hanani, was a prophet. Jehu, his son, was a prophet. I just wanted to point that out. Can you read?
For as much as I exalted thee out of the dust, and made thee prince over my people Israel.
The Lord said he made Baasha prince or king over the people of Israel. Read.
And thou hast walked in the way of Jeroboam.
But he walked in the ways of Jeroboam. Read.
And has made my people Israel to sin. To provoke me to anger with their sins.
Read.
Behold, I will take away the posterity of Baasha.
He said, I'm going to kill his children. Read.
And the posterity of his house.
And I'm going to kill the children of his house. Read.
And will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat.
He said, your house is going to be like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Read.
Him that dieth for Baasha and the city shall the dogs eat.
That's the same thing that happened to those that died of Jeroboam in the city. The dogs ate them. Read.
And him that dieth of his in the fields shall the fowls of the air eat.
And that's the same thing that happened to those of Jeroboam that died in the field. The fowls ate them. The birds ate them. Let's jump back over to verse 8.
Verse 8. And the 20.
Hold on. No, let's jump back over to verse 12.
Verse 12. And thus did Zimri destroy all the house of Baasha, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet.
Read.
For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah, his son, by which they sinned.
By which they sinned. Read.
And by which they made Israel to sin,
Uh-huh.
and provoking the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanities.
With their vanities. Jump down to verse 15.
Verse 15. And the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, did Zimri reign 7 days in Tirzah.
So Zimri, he did reign. He did rule over Israel, but only for 7 days, man. He only ruled for 7 days. And in that 7 days, he wiped out Baasha's house. 7 days. In 7 days, he wiped out Baasha's house. Baasha must not have had a big house. Just saying. Read verse 15 again.
Verse 15. And the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, did Zimri reign 7 days in Tirzah.
Read.
And the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines.
Keep reading.
And the people that were encamped heard say, Zimri hath conspired, and have also slain the king. Wherefore all Israel made Omri, the captain of the host, king over Israel.
So when Israel found out that Zimri conspired to kill the king, and he killed the king, they turned on him. And they made Omri, the captain of the host, meaning the captain of the army of Israel, they made him king in his stead. Keep reading.
That day in the camp.
Uh-huh.
And Omri went up from Gibbethon.
So they left from Gibbethon, read.
And all Israel with him. And they besieged Tirzah.
And they went to go besiege Tirzah, read.
And it came to pass, when Zimri saw that the city was taken.
So when Zimri saw that the city, Tirzah, was taken, read.
That he went into the palace of the king's
He
house.
went into the palace of the king's house, which was in Tirzah.
And burnt the king's house over him with fire, and died.
He committed suicide. He set the king's house on fire with himself inside of it. With he himself inside of it. Go check and see who that is real quick for me, real quick. Just look. Oh my gosh, never mind, man. This is ridiculous. You see me over here, right?
Hey, while you doing that, hey, let's get Romans, what we always go to, Romans 15 and 4.
Yeah.
Get Romans 15 and 4. Because bro going over some good history lesson for those that got an ear to hear. And I mean, we're going through the prophets of the kings. We're going through the stories of the kings. So let's see why we do this. Open it up real quick.
The book of Romans chapter 15 verse 4.
Hey, matter of fact, hey, you give me Acts 7 and 51 too. Oh, you back? Oh, never
Go
mind.
ahead. No, go ahead. Yo.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime,
So for whatever things were written aforetime,
were written for our learning.
and those things that was written aforetime is the history, the testimonies that we find in the Bible. Let's see why they was written. Continue on.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures
So that we might find, first and foremost, that we might have patience, and then we get comfort from the scripture. And what else?
might have hope.
So we can lead to our hope. That's why we going over this. Hey, get Acts 7:51. Cause these is good precepts to go over for you to have. And
After this, we're going to get right back to it.
I bet.
The book of Acts chapter 7 verse 51.
Bring this out.
Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears.
Uh-huh.
You do always resist the Holy Ghost,
So pay attention to this part. You always resist the Holy Ghost.
as your fathers did.
That's the point I wanted right here too, though. I wanted to ask your fathers did, because that's what we're going. We're going into the history of the kings, and you're reading about who? You're reading about the kings and their sons, which are their predecessors. So, finish out for me.
So do ye.
So do ye. Hey, read down. Read down. 50, go all the way down 54.
Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted?
Mm-hmm.
And they have slain them which showed before the coming of the just one.
Because all the prophets talked about the coming of the just one. Talking about Jesus Christ. Finish reading.
Of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers.
Uh-huh.
Who have received the law by the disposition of angels.
So, let you know that that's what our Father resists. They resist the laws, which goes into the Holy Spirit. Hey, but finish that.
And have not kept it.
All praise.
Let's go back. 1 Kings 16, 18, and read that again.
1 Kings chapter 16 verse 18. And it came to pass, when Zimri saw that the city was taken,
Talking about the city of Tirzah. When he saw that Tirzah was taken, read.
that he went into the palace of the king's house, and burnt the king's house over him with fire, and died.
He committed suicide. He committed suicide, Joe. When he saw that the city was taken, he went into the king's house, set it on fire with himself inside of it. Burned himself alive. Keep reading.
For his sins, which he sinned in doing evil in the sight of the Lord.
He also did evil in the sight of the Lord, read.
And walking in the way of Jeroboam.
He walked in the way of Jeroboam.
And in his sin, which he did to make Israel to sin.
He also walked in the sin which Jeroboam did to make Israel to sin, concerning those two idol calves of gold. Jump down to verse. No, keep reading verse 20.
Verse 20. Now the rest of the acts of Zimri, and his treason.
And his what?
And his treason that he wrought.
When Zimri conspired to kill the king Elah, and he killed the king Elah, that was treason, man. That was treason. Read.
Are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel?
Keep on.
Then were the people of Israel divided into two parts.
Then were the people of Israel divided, divided in two parts concerning what? Keep reading.
Half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Ganoth.
So half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Ganoth. The name Tibni, or the word Tibni, means intelligent. So this man right here, he was what you would call a wise man. Half the people followed him. Read.
To make him king, and half followed Omri.
And the other half followed Omri. Omri was the captain of the host, the captain of the army of Israel. Read.
But the people that followed Omri prevailed against the people that followed Tibni, the son of Ganoth.
The people that followed Omri prevailed against the people that followed Tibni. What people followed Omri? The soldiers. The army followed Omri. Remember, he was captain of the host. He was captain of the army of Israel. Those are the people that followed him. They prevailed over Tibni and the people who followed him. Keep reading.
So Tibni died.
Tibni died?
And Omri reigned.
And Omri became king, Read.
In the 21st year
in the 31st year.
In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omri to reign over Israel.
So Omri began his reign over Israel in Asa's 31st year as king over Judah. Remember, Asa reigned for 41 years, 41 years. Keep going.
12 years. 6 years reigned he in Tirzah.
So Omri reigned for 12 years. And half of his reign, he reigned from Tirzah, 6 years in Tirzah. Keep reading.
And he bought the hill, Samaria.
And Omri is the one who bought the hill of Samaria, man. He's the one who purchased Samaria. This is when Samaria became Ephraim. Read.
Of Shemer for 2 talents of silver. And built on the hill.
And he built on the hill of Samaria. He built up the city of Samaria on the hill. Read.
And called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shemer, owner of the hill Samaria.
Owner of the hill, he called it Samaria. He called that hill Samaria. And that's when Samaria became the capital over Ephraim. See, before this, the kings over Ephraim, over Israel, were reigning in Tirzah. After this, all the kings over Israel reign in Samaria, man. Samaria becomes the capital. Give me that about Samaria being the head of Ephraim in Isaiah 7 real quick. About Samaria being the capital. Let me get that. 7 and 9. All right.
The book of Isaiah chapter 7 verse 9.
Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The head of Ephraim is Samaria.
The head of Ephraim is Samaria. See, Samaria became the capital of Ephraim, man. Real talk. When Omri purchased it, that's when it became the capital of Ephraim. Read.
And the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established.
And at this time, the head of Samaria, meaning the king who ruled in Samaria, was Remaliah's son. His name was Pekah, His name was Pekah. Jump down. Get that in verse 1 real quick so I can make sure I ain't tripping.
The book of Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the son of Syria, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel.
There we go. So it was Pekah. He was the son of Remaliah. He was the king of Israel at this time. And he ruled from Samaria, the capital of Ephraim. Finish that verse.
And went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it.
Let's go back to 1 Kings 16, and let's read verse 25.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 25. But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord, and did worse than all that were before him.
So Omri did more evil than all the kings that came before him, yo. He was an evil ass man. He did more evil than all the kings that came before him. Verse 26.
For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin, to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Omri, which he did, and his might that he showed, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel?
Read.
So Omri slept with his fathers,
He died.
and was buried in Samaria. And Ahab his son reigned in his stead.
And Ahab his son reigned in his stead. Now Ahab, this Ahab right here, he's more famous for being Jezebel's husband. That's what I remember him as. I remember him as Jezebel's husband. He was the son of Omri. When his father died, he began to reign or to rule in his stead. Keep reading.
And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah,
And in the 38th year of Asa, the king of Judah, read.
began Ahab the son of Omri to reign over Israel.
So Ahab, the son of Omri, his reign over Israel began in Asa's 38th year. Read.
And Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years.
And he reigned over Israel for 22 years. Yo. From where? Samaria. From Samaria. All the kings after Omri of Israel reign in Samaria from here on out. It becomes the capital. But keep going.
And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord, above all that were before him.
He did more evil than anyone that came before him. Read.
And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
It was a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Read.
That he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Baal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him.
So he went and married a Hamite. He married a Hamite woman, a Zidonian woman. Jezebel, yo. Jezebel. And what did he do? He went to go worship her gods. Their gods. Baal. Keep reading.
And he reared up an altar for Baal and the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria.
And he built a house for Baal in Samaria. And he reared up an altar for Baal in that house that he built for him in Samaria. Read.
And Ahab made a grove.
And he made a grove.
And Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him.
And he did more to provoke God to anger than all the kings that came before him. Ahab was a wicked man. Yo, keep reading.
In his days did Hiel, the Bethlehemite, build Jericho.
Now, in the days of Ahab, you had a man named Hiel, the Bethelite. He went to build Jericho. The same city of Jericho that was destroyed in the time of Joshua. It was rebuilt again in the days of Ahab, in the time of Ahab. Read.
He laid the foundation thereof in Abraham, his firstborn.
He laid the foundation thereof in the name of his son Abiram, his firstborn. Meaning before he laid the foundation of Jericho, his firstborn was dead. And he was doing it in the name of his firstborn son, Abiram. Read.
And set up the gates thereof in his youngest son, Segub.
And he had, by the time he was setting up the gates of Jericho, he was doing it in the name of his youngest son, Segub. His youngest son had died before he could even set up the gates. Read.
According to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Joshua, the son of Nun.
And this was according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by the prophet Joshua, the son of Nun. You know, a lot of people, they don't think Joshua was a prophet. A lot of brothers, they'll say, Joshua wasn't no prophet. There's no prophecies in Joshua. Joshua didn't prophesy. Give me the book of Joshua 6 and 26 real quick. Let's see if that's true or not.
The book of Joshua chapter 6 and verse 26.
Read.
And Joshua adjourned them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man.
No, he said what?
Cursed be the man.
He said, cursed be the man that does what?
Before the Lord, that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho.
Cursed is the man that raises up Jericho and rebuilds Jericho. Joshua said that man is cursed. Read.
He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn.
By the time he lays the foundation of the city, he'll be doing it in the name of his firstborn. His firstborn will die before he lays the foundation. Read.
And in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it.
And before he sets up the gates of the city, he'll do it in the name of his youngest son. His youngest son will be dead before he sets up the gates of the city. You know who that fell on? Hiel. In the time of Ahab the king. No. It fell on him. And it's not just for Hiel, it's for anybody that builds up Jericho. You cursed if you try to raise that city up. You're cursed if you try to rebuild that city. But for all those people who said Joshua was not a prophet, shut up, be quiet, go read.
Oh, drop the bomb.
Boom, 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 boom. There you go. There you go. Let's go from there. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 23. Before we move on with Ahab, I need to go back to Asa. Because Ahab became king, what did it say, in the 38th year of Asa?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
31. I thought it was 31.
No, that was, hold on. Let me go back real quick. Let me just look real fast. Yep. Verse 1 Kings 16:29. And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab the son of Omri to reign over Israel. So Ahab became king over Israel in Asa's 38th year as king over Judah. Remember, Asa only reigned for 41 years. So Asa is about to die. He's about to die. Matter of fact, the year after Ahab became king, that's when Asa got sick. Let me get that real quick. Let's go to 15 and 23.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15, verse 23.
Read.
The rest of the acts of Asa, and all his might, and all that he did, and the cities which he built, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah?
Keep going.
Nevertheless, in the time of his old age,
He
was diseased in his feet.
He picked up a disease in both of his feet in his old age. And this happened in the 39th year of his reign. Give me that real quick in 2 Chronicles 16. 2 Chronicles 16. Excuse me. 2 Chronicles 16 and 12.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 12. And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet.
This disease, he picked up this disease in the 39th year of his rule, yo. That's when he was diseased in his feet, read.
Until his disease was exceeding great.
And his disease became exceeding great, read.
Yet in his disease he sought not to the Lord, but to the physician.
That was Asa's problem right there. Remember, well, if you didn't watch part 1, you might not know. Remember in part 1, we started off talking about how all the kings of Israel and Judah were defective except for 3 of them. Give me that real quick again. It's Sirach 49 and 4. Sirach 49 and 4, I think it is. Let me get that one more time.
The book of Sirach, chapter 49 and verse 4. All except David.
All of the kings except for David.
And Ezekias.
Ezekias is Hezekiah.
And Josias.
And Josias, which is Josiah, read.
Were defective.
All of the kings besides those 3 men were defective, read.
For they forsook the law of the Most High. Even the kings of Judah fell.
Even the kings of Judah fell, Joe. Which would include who? Asa. It would include Asa. Asa was also defective. Now the question is, what the hell made Asa defective? What made Asa defective? What made Asa defective is the fact that he didn't seek after the Lord to be his help all the time. That's what made Asa defective. He did not seek after the Lord to be his help all the time. When he was diseased in his feet, he didn't go seek after the Lord. You know who he went to go seek after? The physicians. The physicians, yo. But that's not the only time. Remember earlier we read in the class about the war between Asa and Baasha, right? Mm-hmm. And how Baasha went up to build, Ramah? He went up to build Ramah, right? And what did Asa do when Baasha went up to build Ramah? Did he turn to the Lord? No, he didn't turn to the Lord, man. He turned to Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, sent him gifts, gold and silver. Man, he didn't turn to the Lord. That's what made Asa defective. He didn't turn to the Lord all the time. Stay in the same chapter and read verse 7. 2 Chronicles 16 and 7. Read that for me.
2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 7. And at that time, Hanani the seer.
Hanani the seer. This is the father of Jehu. When it's calling him a seer, it's saying he's a prophet. Mm-hmm. Remember, the prophets were called seers before. Get that just in case somebody don't know. 1 Samuel 9. 1 Samuel 9 and 9. Because we might have somebody new listening to the class and they don't know.
Bring it up.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 9 and verse 9. Before a time in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, thus he spake, Come, and let us go to the seer. For he that is now called a prophet was before time called a seer.
So the seers of the prophets. The prophets are the seers. Let's read verse 7 again. 2 Chronicles 16, 7.
2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 7. And at that time, Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Judah,
Uh-huh.
and said unto him,
What do you say?
because thou hast relied on the king of Syria,
Because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, read.
and not relied on the Lord thy God.
That's what made Asa defective, yo. That's what made him defective. Not all the time, but a lot of times he relied on other things and people other than God, other than the Lord. Read.
Therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thy hand.
Damn, read.
Verse 8. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubim a huge host?
Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host? See, Asa had to go to war with the Ethiopians. He had to go to war with the Lubim. And they had big armies, huge armies, read.
With very much chariots.
And they had many chariots.
And horses.
And horsemen, read.
Yet, because thou didst rely on the Lord.
But when he went to war with the Ethiopians and the Lubims, he relied on the Lord, read.
He delivered them into thine hand.
And they were delivered into his hands. So what made Asa defective is, not always, not all the time, but he didn't rely on the Lord all the time, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I hope that makes sense to you. That's what made him defective. Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. Then Asa was wroth with the seer, and put him in prison, in a prison house.
So Asa got angry with Hananiah, and put him in prison. Locked him up, man. Threw him in the jail, bro. Read.
For he was in a rage with him because of this thing.
He was mad at what Hananiah had said to him. Read.
And Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time.
And at that same time, Asa was oppressing some of his own people. Read.
And behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel.
Read.
And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet.
He had disease in his feet in the 39th year. Read.
Until his disease was exceeding great.
And his disease became exceedingly great. Read.
Yet in his disease he sought not to the Lord, but to the physician.
In his disease, he didn't seek after the Lord. Contrary-wise, he was seeking after the physician. This is what made him defective, man. Because Asa didn't seek after the Lord for his help all the time. That's what made him defective. Hey, give me Sirach. Give me Sirach chapter 38 real quick. Sirach 38, let's read 1 and 2.
Sirach chapter 38, verse 1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which he may have of him.
So we are to honor the physician. Read.
For the Lord hath created him. Verse 2. For the Most High cometh healing.
Where does healing come from?
For the Most High cometh healing.
See, but healing comes from the Most High. Not from the physician, yo. Not from the physician. Not from their skill. Not from their medicine that they're going to prescribe you. Healing ultimately comes from the Most High God. Read.
And he shall receive honor of the king.
Hey, jump down to 9.
Verse 9. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent.
When you're sick, don't be negligent. Negligent to what? Read.
But pray unto the Lord.
Do what?
But pray unto the Lord.
Read.
And he will make thee whole.
When you're sick, do not be negligent to send up prayers to the Lord, man. When you're sick, you're supposed to be praying to the Lord, man. You're supposed to be praying to the Lord for good health, for cure, to be made whole. And if it be in the Lord's will, guess what happens for you? You're made whole, man. You're made whole. That was verse 9?
Yes.
Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Then give place to the physician.
Now, after you send up prayers to the Lord to be made whole, then you do what?
Then give place to the physician.
That's when you give place to the physician, man. You give place to the physician after you seek the Lord, not before. Read it again.
Then give place to the physician. For the Lord hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him.
We all have need of the physician in one time or another. Can you read?
There is a time when in their hands there is good success.
There is a time when in the physician's hands, in the doctor's hands, he's going to find good success. She's going to find good success. But we also know there are times when they don't find good success. Might be some failure there.
Yeah, deliberate malpractice type stuff.
Yeah, malpractice. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be deliberate or accidental. You know what I'm talking about, Kiri?
For they shall also pray unto the Lord.
For they, talking about the doctors, the physicians, they should also pray to the Lord. Now, I know we don't see that today because we're stuck under the white man. We're stuck under the goddamn devil. Mm-hmm. And the damn devil don't want you to send up no prayers. But when the physician, when the doctor is in his or her right mind, before they begin doing their work, guess what they do? Read it again.
For they shall also pray unto the Lord.
They also pray unto the Lord. Why? Read.
That he will prosper that.
That he might prosper what? Read.
which they give for ease and remedy to prolong life.
That's why they pray to the Lord, so that the Lord blesses them to prosper in their surgery, in their procedure. Blesses them to prosper in whatever prescription or medicine they're going to give to the person to, take away that pain or for that person to live. You know what I mean? Jump up to verse 4, though.
Verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
The Lord has created medicines out of the earth. And there are men and women that understand. They understand these different virtues of plants and herbs. They understand. They call them what? Herbalists and holistic doctors.
Yeah,
holistic physicians, yo. These are men and women that are expert in studying plants and different types of roots to know what medicine they're used for. These are experts. Read it again.
The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them.
But even with all that being said, Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 12.
Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster,
which is medicines out of the earth. The herb, the mollifying plaster, read.
That restored them to health.
That restored them to health.
But thy word.
But thy what?
But thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things.
So even though the doctor is skilled and the doctor gives you medicine, it's not the doctor, it's not the medicine that restores you to health. It's the Lord himself. It's his word that does that thing, man. And Asa didn't hearken to that. He didn't hearken to that. So we go back to the book of 2 Chronicles 16, read 13.
2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 13. And Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 41st year of his reign.
So Asa died. He died of that disease in his feet, yo. In the 41st year of his rule. He died because of that disease in his feet. Was that the end of verse 13?
Yes.
Give me 1 Kings 15, 24.
1 Kings chapter 15, verse 24. And Asa slept with his fathers.
He died.
And was buried with his fathers in the city of David, his father. And Jehoshaphat, his son, reigned in his stead.
And Jehoshaphat, his son, began to reign or rule in his stead. 1 Kings 22 and 41.
1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 41. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Israel.
So Jehoshaphat, he became king over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, the king over Israel.
Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign.
And he was 35 when he became king.
And he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem.
And he ruled in Jerusalem for 25 years.
And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shahai.
Yep, Shahai. Keep reading.
And he walked in all the ways of Asa his father.
So Jehoshaphat, he walked in all the ways of his father, Asa. Read.
He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord.
He did the things that were right in the eyes of the Lord. Talking about God's statutes, God's judgments. Jehoshaphat did those things. Read.
Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away.
But he didn't take away the high places. He did not remove the high places, like his father Asa did not remove the high places. Read.
For the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel.
And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Who was the king of Israel at this time? Ahab. Jehoshaphat made peace with Ahab, the king of Israel. Meaning, remember, before this, there was no peace between Judah and Israel. They were at war with each other, yo. Rehoboam, Jeroboam, Asa, Baasha, etc. They were at war until Jehoshaphat rose up to be king. He made peace with the king of Israel, talking about Ahab. Let's go to chapter 21, 1 Kings 21 and 25.
1 Kings chapter 21, verse 25. But there was none like unto Ahab,
Read.
which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord.
Damn, he sold himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord. Read.
Whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. Jezebel, this Zidonian woman, she encouraged all of the wickedness of Ahab, yo. She encouraged it, yo. She incited that wickedness for Ahab. Read. And he did very abominably, and following idols. According to all things as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
Read.
And it came to pass, when Ahab heard these
Matter of fact, that was 26.
Yes.
Let's go from there. Let's go to 2 Kings 22 and 39.
2 Kings chapter 22 and verse 39. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he made.
So Ahab built an ivory house, a house completely out of ivory. And you know they just recently discovered ivory over there in Israel too. Just recently discovered it. Because before they discovered it, these so-called Bible scholars, or excuse me, not Bible scholars, these people who wanted to disprove the Bible, they said you can't find ivory in Israel. And then they found ivory in Israel.
So let you know what Bible scholars don't do? They don't read.
They don't. You know what else they don't do? They don't shut the hell up until the facts come out. They talk before the facts come out.
Yeah, because you know why? Because they don't believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, where we at?
Verse 39.
Read.
Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he made, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel?
Read.
So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahijah, his son, reigned in his stead.
And Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his stead. Before we move on to Ahaziah, his son, let's talk about the death of Ahab real quick. Let's go to 22 and 19.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 22, verse 19. And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left.
For those that don't know, this is the prophet Micaiah speaking. He is speaking to Ahab and Jehoshaphat, to Ahab and Jehoshaphat. Matter of fact, what is this? Where is it at where it says that Ahab and Jehoshaphat were on the thrones real quick? Let me get that real fast. Let me find that. I want give me verse 10.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 22 and verse 10.
Read.
And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, having put on their robes in a void place, and the entrance of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them.
So you got all these prophets, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he called 400 false prophets. Jump up to where he called 400 false prophets. Give me that in. It's the same chapter, verse 6.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 22 and verse 6. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men.
About 400 men, around 400 fake prophets. Read.
And said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up.
And all of them said, Go up. Go to Ramoth Gilead. Read.
For the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king.
The Lord is going to deliver Ramoth Gilead into your hand, my king. That's what they said. So he got all these false prophets around him and Jehoshaphat, as they're sitting on the throne in the gates, right? Now let's jump back down. Jump down to verse give me verse 11.
Verse 11. And Zedekiah the son of Shemaiah made him horns of iron. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, With these shalt thou push the Syrians, until thou hast consumed them. And all the prophets prophesied. So
deliver it into the king's hand, yo. Hey, I want to jump up real quick. Watch this. Let me see here. Jump up to verse 7.
Verse 7. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him?
So Jehoshaphat saw these 400 prophets, or about 400 prophets, and he heard them prophesying to Ahab, telling him, Go up to Ramoth Gilead, you're going to win. Ramoth Gilead will be yours. But obviously Jehoshaphat, something didn't sit right with Jehoshaphat dealing with these prophets. That's why he said, There's not another one. There's not another prophet of the Lord we can't talk to around here.
Yeah, we might inquire of him.
That we can inquire of him. Did you finish that verse?
Yes.
Hey, keep reading.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord.
Read.
But I hate him.
He said, But I hate him. Ahab said, I hate that nigga. I do not like Micaiah. I don't rock with him, bro. Read.
For he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil.
And that's why he didn't like him. Because Micaiah only prophesied evil concerning Ahab. Keep reading.
And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so.
Let not the king say so. Read.
Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, Hasten hither, Micaiah, the son of Imlah.
Let's jump down. Let's jump down. Read 13.
Verse 13. And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him,
Spake unto Micaiah, read.
saying,
Saying what?
Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth.
So this messenger told Micaiah, he said, I want you to pay attention. All of these prophets are speaking good concerning the king with one mouth. Read.
Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them.
And you make sure you speak the same thing. You make sure you speak good concerning the king, just like them. Read.
And speak that which is good.
Uh-huh.
And Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth,
Read.
what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak.
Micaiah said, I'm going to speak what the Lord speaks to me. Simple. Read.
So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle?
Read.
Or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king.
Read.
And the king said unto him, How many times shall I endure thee, that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord?
So the king got mad with the prophet and said, just tell me the truth. Just tell me what is true from the Lord. Read.
And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills.
So the prophet said, I saw all of Israel scattered upon the hills. Read.
As sheep that have not a shepherd.
And they were like sheep without a shepherd. Read.
And the Lord said, These have no master.
These have no master, no king. Read.
Let them return every man to his house in peace.
So what did he just prophesy about concerning Ahab? His death. He told Ahab, you're going to die, yo. You are going to die. Keep reading.
And the king of Israel said unto Joshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he will prophesy no good concerning me, but evil?
And Ahab got mad. He was like, didn't I tell you this man don't say nothing but evil concerning me? Read.
And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord.
This is the prophet Micaiah. He said, hear the word of the Lord. Read.
I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his
When
left.
it's talking about the host of heaven, it's talking about the angels, yo. The angels standing on his right hand and on his left. On his right hand, that's what we call the good angels. On his left hand, that's where you got the evil angels at. Keep going.
And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?
So the Lord said to the heavenly host, which one of you are going to persuade or deceive Ahab to take his ass up to Ramoth Gilead and die? Read.
And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner.
And one spirit said, I'll do this. And then another spirit said, I'll do that. Read.
And there came forth a spirit, and stood before the Lord.
But there came forth this one spirit and stood before the Lord. Read.
And said, I will persuade him.
And he told the Lord, I'll persuade him. I'll deceive him. Read.
And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith?
How? How are you going to persuade Ahab? Read.
And he said,
And the spirit said to the Lord, what?
I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
The spirit said, I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Remember, he had about 400 prophets, man. About 400 prophets. Read.
And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so.
And the Lord said, you're going to succeed. You're going to persuade him. Go ahead and do it. Read.
Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets. And the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee.
And the Lord has spoken evil concerning thee. So all his prophets were telling him, go forth to Ramoth Gilead. Conquer. Get the victory. But they were all lying. They were all lying, yo. It was just to trick him or deceive him or persuade him to go up to Ramoth Gilead and die. And die. And that's exactly what happened to Ahab. He went up to Ramoth Gilead and died. Let's go over to verse 29.
Verse 29. So the king of Israel and Joshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Joshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle.
He said, I'm going to disguise myself. Ahab said, I'm going to disguise myself and enter into the battle.
But put thou on thy robe.
But he told Jehoshaphat, no, you don't worry about it. You go ahead and put your robes on. Go ahead and dress like the king going out to the battle. Read.
And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle.
Coward, man. Read.
That
reminds me of the brothers who don't wear fringes to go into the battle. I'm going to disguise myself.
Oh, I'm going to tell my friends.
I don't want to wear no fringes. I'm going to be harmless as a dove and wise as a serpent. You're a coward. Like Ahab, man.
You're fearful.
Scared to death, man. Read this real quick.
But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that had rule over his chariots, saying,
Saying what?
Fight neither with small nor great.
Hey, yo, he told his captains that ruled over his chariots, he said, I don't care if you see a small host or a great host. Ignore them. Don't fight them. Read.
Save only with the king of Israel.
I just want you to find the king of Israel. Kill him. We'll take care of everything else. Read.
And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, surely it is the king of Israel.
When it came to pass, when they saw Jehoshaphat, remember, Jehoshaphat, he went out in his kingly garment. When they saw Jehoshaphat, they said, surely that's Ahab right there. That's him right there, huh?
Which was his armor.
Yeah, keep going.
And they turned aside to fight against him.
Uh-huh.
And Jehoshaphat cried out.
And Jehoshaphat cried out like, shit! Excuse my language. What the hell? What's going on? Yo, read.
And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel.
So when the captains of the chariots finally got close enough to recognize this ain't Ahab, this is not the king of Israel, read.
That they turned back from pursuing him.
They stopped pursuing Jehoshaphat. They stopped pursuing him. They realized Ahab was trying to trick us, yo. Ahab was trying to play us. Read.
And a certain man drew a bow at a venture, and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness.
But a certain man, he caught a bow. He had a bow and arrow. He pulled it and popped Ahab, yo. Between what?
The joints of the harness.
Between the joints of the harness. Read.
Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, turn thy hand, and carry me out of the host.
Carry me out of the battle. Read.
For I am wounded.
I'm wounded. Read.
And the battle increased that day.
And the battle got increased that day. Read.
And the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Syrians, and died at even.
And he died at even. In the chariot, he died at evening time. Read.
And the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot.
Damn it. Read.
And there went a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun.
And there went a proclamation throughout the host of Israel at evening when the going down of the sun. Read.
Saying, every man to his city, and every man to his own country.
Just like Micaiah prophesied. Remember in chapter 22, in verse 17, he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills as sheep that have no shepherd, and the Lord said, these have no master, let them return every man to his house in peace. That's exactly what Micaiah had prophesied concerning Ahab. He told him that was going to happen, yo. He told him, you're going to die, and everything that follows you is going back home. It's like what Christ said, what did it say? Smite the shepherd, scatter the sheep. That's what happened. Smite the shepherd, scatter the sheep. Read.
So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria.
And they buried the king in Samaria. So he died, and they buried him there in Samaria. Hold on one second. Huh?
Next verse.
38. Go ahead. Why not?
Verse 38. And one washed the chariot in the pool of Samaria, and the dog licked up his blood.
Damn it.
And they washed his armor, according unto the word of the Lord which he spake.
All praises. Hey, jump down to verse... So Ahab died. Jump down to verse 45 from me.
Verse 45. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, and his might, that he showed, and how he warned, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah?
Now, about Jehoshaphat. Remember we talked about how all the kings were defective except for 3. David, Hezekiah, Josiah, right? But we just read Josiah. He did the things that were right in the eyes of God. What made him defective? What made him defective, yo? You know what made him defective? Give me 2 Chronicles 19. Because remember, we just read about Ahab going to war, being killed in war. After he was killed, every man returned to his own country, to his own house in peace, yo. In peace. 2 Chronicles 19:1.
The book of 2 Chronicles chapter 19, verse 1. And Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, returned to his house in peace to Jerusalem.
This is talking about after Ahab died in the battle. He also returned to his own house in peace in Jerusalem. Read.
And Jehu, the son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him, and said to King Jehoshaphat, shouldest thou help the ungodly?
Shouldest thou help the ungodly? The ungodly that he went to help was Ahab. Read.
And love them that hate the Lord?
The one that he loved that hated the Lord, that was Ahab. Read.
Therefore is wrath upon thee from before the Lord.
That's what made Jehoshaphat defective, yo. Jehoshaphat was defective because he went to help those that hate the Lord, yo. The ungodly. He had love for them. That made him defective in the eyes of God, yo. Because we're not supposed to be helping the ungodly. You're not supposed to have love for those that hate the Lord. Real talk. And you know what happens to you when you help the ungodly? You know what happens to you when you have love for those that hate the Lord? God turns his wrath on you. That's what happened. God turns his wrath on you. You got a precept from him?
No, I just put you on Sirach 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to.
Oh, yeah. One of y'all want to bring it out? Bring it out.
All right. The book of Sirach chapter 12 and verse 2. Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense.
There you go.
And if not from him, yet from the Most High.
Do good to the godly man, yo. When you do good, you got to be doing good to someone who's godly. A godly man, a godly woman. Not somebody who is ungodly, man. Read.
Mention verse 4. Verse 4. Give to the godly man.
Give to the godly man.
And help not a sinner.
And help not the sinner. If you can't understand that, it's because you're defective. I'm just going to let you know ahead of time. You are defective if you can't understand that. Give to the godly man. Help not the sinner. Go ahead.
Mention verse 7. Give unto the good. And help not the sinner.
Give to the good. Do not help the sinner. Once again, if you can't understand that, it's because you're defective. Your ears are defective. Your mind is defective. The Bible says, give to the good, help not the sinner. That's what made Jehoshaphat defective. He helped the sinner. He helped the ungodly. He loved those that hated God. That made that man defective. You got something, bro?
Oh, no, he hit one on one.
All right, give me, let's go back to...
2 Chronicles 19:1.
No. We finished that. Let's go back to 2 Kings. Let's go back to 2 Kings. No, 1 Kings. 1 Kings 22 and...
1 Kings 22?
Yeah. What were we at before this?
What was the 2 Kings 22? I mean, yeah, no, we are in 1 Kings. We're in 1 Kings 22.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we had just read about...
Yeah,
that's right.
35.
Yeah, we had just read about that. Let's stay here in 2 Kings. I
Second King,
want
First
to
King.
read 45. 1 Kings. 1 Kings 22, read 45 again.
1 Kings chapter 22, verse 45.
I'm confused myself. Go ahead.
Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his might that he showed, and how he warned, are they not written? Ward, Slakia. Are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?
Read.
And the remnant of the Sodomites, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land.
Meaning he started to kill that remnant of Sodomites out of the land, yo. Just like his father did. He started to kill those Sodomites out the land. Read.
There was no king in Edom.
There was no real king in Edom. Read.
A deputy was king.
But there was a deputy as king in Edom. When it said there was no king in Edom, it means legitimate king in Edom. No man that was a descendant of the kings of Edom was sitting on the throne of Edom at that time. It was a deputy that was made king over Edom. Read.
Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold. But they went not.
They went not. Why?
For the ships were broken at Ezion Geber.
The ships were broken at Ezion Geber. They were broken by the Lord. Because remember, he went to go help Ahab, that ungodly man that hated the Lord. And what happened? God turned his wrath on him, yo. God turned his wrath on him and broke up all his ships. Read.
Then said Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, unto Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with thy servants in the ships. But Jehoshaphat would not.
Mm-hmm.
And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead.
And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead, ruled in his stead, Joe. When he died, when Jehoshaphat finally died, Jehoram became king. Now before that, Jehoram and Jehoshaphat were what you call co-regents. Jehoshaphat made Jehoram his co-regent, yo. Co-regent. Now we're going to talk about that too, but before we talk about that, let me see here. We read 51 through 53 earlier, right?
New 1 Kings 22, 51?
Yeah.
No.
We didn't read this?
Nah, about
Read it again. Yeah, read it again.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 22, verse 51. Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, the 17th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah,
Read.
and reigned 2 years over Israel.
So he only ruled for 2 years over Israel, right?
And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother.
His father is Ahab, his mother is Jezebel, right?
And in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat,
And in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, right?
who made Israel to sin.
Read.
For he served Baal,
He served Baal, right?
and worshipped him,
And worshiped Baal.
and provoked the anger of the Lord, of his God of Israel, according to all that his father had done.
So let's talk about the death of Ahaziah. Give me 2 Kings 1 and 1. 2 Kings 1 and 1.
2 Kings, sorry. The book of 2 Kings, chapter 1 and verse 1. Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab.
So after the death of Ahab, Moab rebelled against Israel. Before that, Moab was tributary to Israel. They had to pay them custom and taxes. Just to show that, go to 2 Kings 3 and read verse 4 and 5. Read verses 4 and 5.
2 Kings chapter 3 and verse 4. And Misha, king of Moab, was a sheep master, and rendered unto the king of Israel and 100,000 lambs, and 100,000 rams with the wool.
That was their tribute. 100,000 lambs, 100,000 rams with the wool. That was their tribute that they paid to Israel. Can you read?
But it came to pass when Ahab was dead,
But when Ahab died, though, when Jezebel's husband died, read.
that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel.
That's when they rebelled against the kingdom of Israel. They stopped sending them those tributes. They didn't send them the 1,000 lambs and the rams with the wool anymore. Real talk. Let's go back to chapter 1 and verse 1.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 1 and verse 1. Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. And Ahaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber.
When it says he fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber, it's talking about the framework. The framework of the upper chamber. He fell through it and fell down. To the ground. Read.
That was in Samaria and was sick.
And he was sick. So not only did he fall through the lattice or the framework of the upper chamber, he also fell sick. Read.
And his messengers, and he sent messengers and said unto them, Go, inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease.
Now, pardon my language, but this nigga's a snidiot. This guy said, I'm going to go and ask Baal, the god of Ekron, Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I'll recover from this disease. This nigga's a snidiot. No cap. He's about as much of a snidiot as you that go to white man Jesus and ask the same question. Yeah, I said it. Snigger, a snidiot. Y'all remember that. Keep reading.
But the angel of the Lord said to Ahijah the Tishbite.
Elijah
the Tishbite, Salakia. Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria.
Read.
And say unto them, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel?
Is it not because there's a God in Israel? Read.
That ye go to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron?
Are you going to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, because there's no God in Israel? Keep reading.
Now therefore, thus saith the Lord, Thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up.
He said you'll never get off that bed again. Read.
But shalt surely die.
You're going to die in that bed. Read.
And Elijah departed.
And Elijah departed. Jump over to verse 17.
Verse 17. So he died according to the word of the Lord, which Elijah had spoken.
So he died. Read.
And Jehoram reigned in his stead in the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Joshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no son.
Because he had no son. So you got Jehoram reigning in his stead, in the stead of Ahijah, in the stead of Ahijah. And he began to reign in the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Joshaphat, the king of Judah. Because Ahaziah did not have any sons. He did not have sons. So this Jehoram that reigned in his stead, this is another son of Ahab. Go to chapter 3 and 1.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now Jehoram, the son of Ahab,
So this Jehoram is just another son of Ahab.
began to reign over Israel in Samaria, the 18th year of Joshaphat, king of Judah, and reigned 12 years.
And he reigned 12 years. He began to reign in the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, and he reigned for 12 years, 12 years. Keep reading.
And he wrought evil in the sight of the Lord, but not like his father, and like his mother. For he put away the image of Baal that his father had made.
So he had destroyed the image of Baal.
Nevertheless, he cleaved unto the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat.
But he cleaved unto those idol calves of gold, though.
Which made Israel to sin. He departed not therefore from.
Read.
And Mesha.
No matter of fact, jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. And King Jehoram went out of Samaria the same time and numbered all Israel.
So this man went out to number all Israel, just like David did at the time. Mm-hmm. And for those that don't know, that's a sin. That is a trespass against the Lord, Joe. Give me that in 1 Chronicles chapter 21. Read 1 through 3.
1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 1. And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel.
Read.
And David said to Joab and to the rulers of the people, Go, number Israel from Beersheba even to Dan, and bring the number of them to me, that I may know it. And Joab answered, The Lord make his people 100 times so many more as they be. But my lord the king, are they not all my lord's servants? Why then doth my lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause to trespass to Israel?
Why will he be a cause to trespass in Israel? To number Israel, to census Israel is a trespass. Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7.
Oh, excuse me, verse 8.
Verse 8. And David said unto God, I have sinned greatly.
Oh, matter of fact, read 7. Forget it, read 7.
Verse 7. And God was displeased with this thing.
And God was pissed because of that thing right there. Read.
Therefore he smote Israel.
And because of that, he smote Israel. Read.
And David said unto God, I have sinned greatly.
I have what?
I have sinned greatly.
To number Israel is a great transgression. It is a great sin. Read.
Because I have done this thing. But now I beseech thee, do away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly.
So to number Israel, to census Israel, that is a great sin. That is a foolish thing to do, yo. A foolish thing to do. And that's exactly what the brother did. Where's that at? Let's go back to 1 Kings chapter 3 and 6 again.
2 Kings chapter 3 and verse 6. And King Joram went out of Samaria at the same time, and numbered all Israel. Verse 7.
And he numbered all Israel. And he numbered all of Israel. Hey, hold on real quick. Let me see here. 1 second. I'm about to end this thing. I want to see something real fast before I do.
I'll just take it to the back.
Yeah, give me 2 Kings chapter 8 and 16 real quick.
2 Kings chapter 8.
We're gonna end it here, and then we'll pick up next time in part 3. Read.
2 Kings chapter 8 verse 16. And in the 5th year of Jehoram.
When it's talking about Joram, it's the same one as Jehoram. Same person, yo. Just different translations. Keep reading.
The son of Ahab, king of Israel. Jehoshaphat being then king of Judah. Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign.
Began to reign. Read.
32 years old was he when he began to reign. And he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem.
So we're going to stop here, yo. We're going to stop here, and when we come back, we're going to deal with Jehoram, and we're going to deal with Jehoram. We're going to deal with both of these, and we're going to conclude dealing with them. Now, anybody got anything they want to add? Well, we're going to end this thing like we began this thing. And that's by giving all praises and all glory and all honor to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, through his only begotten Son, Jesus the Christ. Secondly, we're going to give double honors to our elders again. Because, again, our elders are counted worthy of double honors.
Right.
So, again, our elders get their double honors.
Bring it up.
Now, lastly and finally, I want to say Shabbat Shalom and farewell to all of my brothers and my sisters out there, man. My name is Priest Lithiel Ben Israel.
And likewise, my name is Priest Ron Ben Israel, and hopefully you found this class edifying. And if you want to find more about the school and the information, you can look us up on Facebook as well on Instagram under the name Holy Nation of Israel. As well, you can check out our YouTube channel, Straight Gate of Israel. And you can find me on Facebook as well as Instagram at Ron Ben Israel. But on Instagram, make sure it's lowercase and an underscore between the two names.
You'll find me on IG, Lithiel617, Facebook, Lithiel Ben Israel.
And remember, when it comes to our social media platform, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow. I forget anything. Oh yeah, hit the bell, stay up with the latest notification. Reason why? Because God's enemy hate that.
Right.
The white people, Chinese people, Japanese people, and they just say Western terminology.
Philippines, Hawaiians.
They just hate God. But with that, you say shalom.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Shalom.